questions that Mr. Body's going to ask you, but if you have any questions, just stop me, okay?
Okay.
All right, look this way.
Let me know, Mr. Body, when you're ready. Okay. Then let's get on the record. This is 24 SC 006 492-01, State versus Demetrius Davis. Mr. Davis is here in court with Ms. Wood. Mr. Body is here for the state. Good afternoon, Mr. Davis.
How you doing, Ms. McBurney?
I'm okay. You okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Davis, Ms. Wood tells me that you are prepared to enter a plea in your case. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Here's how it's going to work. In a moment, Mr. Abate, who is the prosecutor, is going to put you under oath, and then he'll ask you a bunch of questions. I need you to listen carefully to his questions and answer them to the best of your ability. If at any time he asks you a question that doesn't make sense or confuses you, will you let me know?
Yes, sir.
If at any time you need to take a break, will you let me know?
Yes, sir.
Okay. This is a serious plea, so I need to make sure you're understanding what we're talking about. You'll tell me if something is confusing or you don't get it.
Yes, I will, sir.
Good. All right. Then, Mr. Abadi, when you're ready.
Today, you'll raise your right hand. Solemnly swear or affirm that testimony not given in matter before this court will be the truth and the whole truth and nothing but the truth, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and you're just gonna need to speak up a little bit louder.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And you don't need to, if you can belt it out, you don't need to lean over. But if you're going to be quiet, you do need to lean over each time you answer. Okay? But go with outside voice.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Put the microphone in front of you.
Oh. Thank you, Ms. Rivers. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Mr. Davis, if you will state your true, correct, and legal name for the record.
Demetrius Davis.
Will you spell your first name for the record? I know it's spelled different ways.
How do you spell your first name?
Demetrius.
IUS? I know, I think it's wrong here. Is it IUS? How do you normally spell?
Do you normally spell your first name Demitrus?
Do I normally spell it that way? Yes,
How
sir.
it's spelled? Yes.
That's how it's spelled.
Okay, so the correct spelling of your name is Demitrus. Right?
Is that correct?
No,
Is there an extra I after the R?
it's a
Okay, so there's an I after the R.
Okay, so the correct spelling of your name is Demitrus.
Yes.
Okay. And sir, are you at this time taking or under the influence of any alcohol, drugs, or medicine?
No, sir.
Okay. And is there any medication that you're given on a daily or you take on a regular basis that you've not taken today that would affect your ability to understand why you're here?
No, sir.
Okay. And how old are you, sir, and how far have you gone in school?
I went to the 11th grade.
How old are you?
I'm 38.
You're 38 and you went to the 11th grade.
Yes, sir.
And are you able to read, write, and understand the English language?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And do you understand from speaking with your counsel that you are charged with the following offenses in indictment number 24 SC 006 492-01? Count 1, murder. Counts 2, 3, and 4, all felony murder counts. Count 5, kidnapping with bodily injury. Count 6, false imprisonment. Count 7, aggravated assault. Count 8, aggravated sodomy. Count 9, possession of a knife during the commission of a felony. Count 10, rape. Counts 11 and 12, both aggravated assault counts. Count 13, false imprisonment. Count 14, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony. And then counts 15 and 16 are both possession of a firearm by conviction felon counts. Do you understand that you're charged with all of those offenses in this indictment?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And do you understand that you have the right to plead either guilty or not guilty to these charges? And if you pled not guilty or remain silent, you may receive a jury trial.
Yes, sir.
And have you had enough time to speak with your attorney, Ms. Woods?
Yes, I do.
And have you had enough time to talk to her about all the facts and circumstances and your options as it relates to the charges that I just spoke about?
Yes, sir.
And are you satisfied with the services that Ms. Wood and her team has provided?
Yes, sir.
And do you need any additional time at this time to ask Ms. Woods any questions you may have in regards to the plea that we're taking today? Are you okay?
Can I ask a question?
You can ask her as many questions as you like.
If you're going to ask her something, why don't you turn away from the microphone so we don't hear it?
At the end, okay? Do
Yes.
you have any other questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay,
Are we good?
good.
Okay.
And Ms. Wood, do you waive formal reading of the indictment?
We do.
And do you also, Ms. Wood, waive any and all defects in the indictment, including any with respects to the spelling of your client's name?
So waived.
And has your attorney, Mr. Davis, advised you of the minimum and maximum sentence for each charge you'd be pleading guilty to?
Question means that you and I talk about what you'd be facing if we went to trial. So the most you could get if we lost the trial. Do you understand what that would be?
Yeah.
Okay, so tell him yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I'm gonna go over what the minimum and maximum are for each one of the offenses in the indictment, okay?
Can you hold on 1 second? I'm printing out we don't have all the charges on the calendar. I'm just printing out the cover page.
Okay.
And I can follow along too. It's a slow printer. Why don't you just get started? I'll keep track.
And so, Mr. Davis, as it relates to count one, murder, do you understand that the minimum sentence for murder is life, the maximum being life without the possibility of parole?
Yes, sir.
You understand that for counts 2, 3, and 4, which are all felony murder counts, the minimum, again, is life, and the maximum for those counts is also life without the possibility of parole. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand that as it relates to count 5, kidnapping with bodily injury, the minimum for that offense is life, maximum is, according to the statute, it's death, but obviously that's not on the table here.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And do you understand that for count 6, false imprisonment, the minimum is 1 year, the maximum is 10 years?
Yes, sir.
And then as it relates to count 8, aggravated assault, excuse me, count 7, aggravated assault, the minimum is 1 year, the maximum is 20 years.
Yes, sir.
And then for count 8, aggravated sodomy, do you understand that the minimum for that count is 25 years? The maximum is life, and whatever sentence you receive is to be followed by life on probation. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And for count 9, possession of a knife during the commission of a felony, you understand that the sentence for that must be 5 years and it must run consecutive, but it can be suspended, probated, or served in prison. Do you understand that? Just,
Yes.
okay. And for count 10, rape, do you understand that the minimum for that count is, again, it's 25 years, the maximum is life. And whatever sentence you receive for that count, it must be followed by life on probation. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and then for counts 11 and 12, those are aggravated assault counts. The minimum is 1 year, the maximum is 20 years. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
And then for count 14, I skipped count 13, I apologize, false imprisonment. The minimum again for that count is 1 year, the maximum is 10 years.
Yes, sir.
And then for counts 14, excuse me, is possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony. Again, that must be a 5-year sentence and it must run consecutive, but it can be suspended, probated, or served in prison. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right. And then for the last 2 counts, which are both possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, you understand for those counts, the minimum is 1 year, the maximum is 10 years.
Yes.
Okay. And do you have any questions about any of the minimum or maximum sentences that I just went over for all the counts in which you're indicted with, sir?
No, sir.
Okay. And sir, do you understand that this is a negotiated plea of guilty, which means the state and your counsel, Ms. Wood, will make a joint recommendation to the court? But do you understand that the court does not have to follow that recommendation necessarily, and that he can sentence you as he sees fit? And then run those sentences for each count that he chooses to sentence you differently. He can do that one after another or consecutively. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
No. And you understand, sir, that this plea may be used to enhance sentencing on other convictions in this jurisdiction, as well as in other jurisdictions, including the federal courts, Mr. Davis. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
You also understand that if you are not a United States citizen, a guilty plea will affect your immigration status and will result in deportation, regardless of any advice given to you by your counsel, Ms. Wood, or anybody else.
Yes, sir.
Okay. You also understand that you waive any and all defenses by entering a plea of guilty here today.
Yes.
Okay. And you understand that by pleading guilty, you're giving up the following rights: the right to trial by jury, the right to remain silent and to not incriminate yourself, the right to confront witnesses against you, the right of the assistance of counsel hired by you or court appointed if you are unable to afford an attorney for the trial of your case, the right to the presumption of innocence, the right to testify on your own behalf and to present other evidence, the right to subpoena witnesses and to compel the production of evidence, the right to have the charges against you proved beyond a reasonable doubt by the state of Georgia, and the right to appeal if convicted of these charges after trial. Mr. Davis, do you understand that by pleading guilty here today, you're giving up or waiving all of those rights I just listed and went through?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And Mr. Davis, has anyone forced, threatened, or promised you anything to get you to enter a guilty plea here today?
No, sir.
And is it your decision, Mr. Davis, to waive these rights and enter a guilty plea because you're in fact guilty?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Davis, how do you plea to count one in indictment number 24 SC 006-492-01, murder?
How do I plead?
How do you plead?
Guilty.
And sir, how do you plead to counts 2, 3, and 4, which are all felony murder counts in that same indictment?
Guilty.
Mr. Davis, how do you plead to count 5, kidnapping with bodily injury?
Guilty.
And how do you plead for count 6, false imprisonment?
Guilty.
And as it relates to count 7, aggravated assault, how do you plead, sir?
Guilty.
And for count 8, aggravated sodomy, how do you plead?
Guilty.
And as it relates to count 9, which is possession of a knife during the commission of a felony, how do you plead, Mr. Davis?
Guilty.
And then as it relates to count 10, rape, how do you plead, Mr. Davis?
Guilty.
The question about
Yes.
that. What's the case with Sabrina? The second case. Judge, one moment, please.
Sure.
Do you remember so the state re-indicted this to combine? So counts 1 through 9, right? We talked about that's the first case. 10 through 16 is the second case that we kept calling the unindicted case for a long time, and now it's part of this case. This is the May case. That's the July case.
Guilty.
And count 11 and 12, which are both aggravated assault counts, sir.
Guilty, sir.
And then as it relates to count 13, which is false imprisonment, how do you plead, Mr. Davis?
Guilty.
And count 14, which is possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony, how do you plead, Mr. Davis?
Guilty.
And then the last two counts, counts 15 and 16 are both counts that are possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. How do you plead, sir?
Guilty, sir.
And Mr. Davis, is this guilty plea freely and voluntarily given with full knowledge of the charges against you?
Yes, sir.
And do you understand that you may only have a limited right to appeal this guilty plea conviction?
Yes, sir.
And do you understand that you have only 4 years from today for a felony charge to file a habeas corpus petition challenging this guilty plea? Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And did you have an opportunity or do you need additional time to talk to Ms. Wood? Anything about what a habeas corpus petition entails? Are you good with that?
Remember, we talked about this in the back extensively.
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
are you good with that?
yes,
Okay, say yes to the.
yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Your Honor, had the state proceeded to trial, the state would have shown during that trial beyond a reasonable doubt that, and I'm gonna talk about events. The first one that we initially indicted occurred on July 4th of 2024. But the counts 10 through 16 involve an offense that occurred a month earlier in May of 2024, Your Honor.
Okay.
So
So you're going to talk about the May situation first or the July?
I'm going to speak about July 1st.
Okay.
So as it relates to the counts 1 through 9 of the indictment involve an incident that occurred on July 4th of 2024, approximately at 5:55 a.m. in the area of 2179 Martin Luther King Drive and the surrounding street area. That address is actually an abandoned house in that area. But what occurred during that time, and what you can see and is captured on video surveillance for an apartment complex, as well as areas, the camera had an area where FUSIS and VIC cameras can capture the surrounding area as well. You can see the defendant, Demetrius Davis, and the victim in this case, Miss Santos, Miss Annette Santos, kind of walking along the sidewalk and then kind of crossing the street. As they're crossing the street, you can see the defendant kind of grab her arm several times and her pull away. He continued to do that. And they were talking kind of back and forth where their heads were both turning towards each other. At one point, Miss Santos, in an attempt to get Mr. Davis off of her arm, swings her purse or her bag at Mr. Davis. When she does that, her purse falls into the middle of the street. What you can see on the video surveillance cameras is that Miss Santos then attempts to kind of run and get away from Mr. Davis, but Mr. Davis continues to chase her and follow her. As he is chasing her, she falls in the middle of the street, and as she falls and is down, you can see the defendant on multiple times take a knife and stab Miss Santos along her body and her torso. At that point, the defendant, after he stabbed her, kind of walks away, walks towards the left side of the street, towards the sidewalk, where Miss Santos is there laying in the street. You can see her get up and struggle to get up, attempt to grab her bag. The defendant then comes back and again grabs her. You can see Miss Santos struggle to attempt to try to get away, but she again, because of the stab wounds, falls into the middle of the street. You then can see on the video surveillance camera the defendant drag Miss Santos across the street into the sidewalk where they began, where they could see, where you could begin to see them on the video surveillance camera before the stabbing occurred. He then drags her from the sidewalk and off the camera towards the abandoned house where Miss Santos is eventually found later that mid-afternoon. The defendant can be seen on the video.
Is there a blood trail from the, I don't know,
There is.
from the middle of the street to the sidewalk to the house where she's found?
There is a blood trail where you can see in the middle of the street and the sidewalk. It's the blood trail kind of tails off, or you can't see it as he continues to drag her because there's grass and there's wooded area and things of that nature. But there is blood found where she is eventually found behind the house at 2179 Martin Luther King Drive. You can see on the video surveillance camera the defendant emerge back from where he came, where he dragged Ms. Santos's body about approximately 45 minutes after he initially dragged her behind the house. What you can see as he continues to walk is his actual face on a T-Mobile store video surveillance camera that is right down the street on Martin Luther King Drive, as well as the kind of clothing that he had on, which match what you can see on the initial Fusus, Vic, and the apartment complex that's near the location. You could see the general description of his clothes and pants and things of that nature. Ms. Santos is later found by a citizen who's walking by or walking through the backyard to get to the street. Obviously, the police arrive, and the detectives with the Atlanta Homicide Department began their investigation. They got several tips as it relates to this defendant being the perpetrator of the crime, but all of the tips were anonymous. They were through Crime Stoppers and things of that nature. Mr. Davis was later
Based on some kind of photo that's shared, or okay.
Bolo was sent out. They did a press conference as well as a bolo was sent out through the city.
Okay. An anonymous caller say the person in that picture is Mr. Davis or whatever they share.
That's correct.
Okay.
And Mr. Davis, being a person of interest at this point, later, July 7th, is arrested on an unrelated charge. I believe it's a public intoxication, and he had a warrant, an outstanding probation warrant. He is taken back to APD homicide headquarters, where he's Mirandized, and Detective Fall speaks with him. He denies any involvement in what occurred to Ms. Santos on July 4th. But on that date, his buccal swab is taken for his DNA, and that is sent to the GBI along with the rape kit that was done on Ms. Santos by the medical examiner. Back later in November, there's a match as it relates to the DNA of this defendant being found inside of Ms. Santos's anal area or cavity. And based upon that, warrants are taken out by Detective Fall for the crimes alleged in counts 1 through 9. The defendant is later arrested. I believe it's October 6th. He's seen in the area of Zone 1 after a 911 call was actually made by a friend, a female friend that was with this defendant that night. She called.
Meaning the night of the murder or the night he was arrested?
The night he was arrested.
Okay.
On October 6th. As a result of that 911 call, in which the female caller that was with the defendant said she's with the individual. He went by the, I guess, nickname of Meatball, that she's with Meatball at a specific location. It was a Chevron in Zone 1. Zone 1 officers immediately respond, and that's where he is eventually arrested and taken into custody. A month prior, on May 3rd, make sure I have my May dates right, so I apologize.
You say a month prior, meaning a couple months before the July 4th situation?
Yes. So
Okay.
a month prior to the July 4th situation, so it was May 3rd, 2024. Miss Sabrina Holland, who was the significant other of somebody who, Mr. Houston, who lived with Mr. Davis at the time in May. She was coming to meet Mr. Houston, her boyfriend.
She was the significant other of Mr. Houston or a friend of Mr. Houston?
She was the significant other of Mr. Houston.
Who's roommates with Mr. Davis?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
And they lived at 149 Dahlia Avenue, which is Dahlia, here in Atlanta, Georgia, Fulton County. She had come to that house because her and Mr. Houston had planned a dinner date that evening. When she arrived, Mr. Houston was not there. And so she went down the street to 109 Dahlia Avenue, where Mr. Houston's mother stayed, knocked on the door and was able to gain entry into his mother's home and waited there because his mom said that she had spoken to him earlier, he being Mr. Houston, and that he would be there shortly. During that time, while she is waiting at Mr. Houston's mom's house, the defendant arrives at Miss Houston's home, gives Miss Houston I can't remember, it was a monitor, some sort of equipment that she needed. And during that time, Mr. Davis and Ms. Holland had an exchange. Mr. Davis requested if Ms. Holland would take him to their house at 149 Dahlia Street, and she agreed to drive him down to their house that he shared with Mr. Houston. Once they arrived, she waited in Mr. Houston's bedroom for him to get home so they could go on the plans that they had already prearranged. During the time that they were waiting, the defendant came into Mr. Houston's bedroom where Ms. Holland was waiting. And the first time he came in with a long gun, a rifle or shotgun of some sort, pointed it at Ms. Holland and told her, you know what time it is, take your pants off, basically undress. And at that point, began to threaten her if she didn't comply. He then, because she wasn't moving fast enough, began to take the pants of Ms. Holland off. He successfully was able to take her pants off and attempted to penetrate her vagina. While doing that, there was a struggle, and Ms. Holland was able to get away in the sense that was able to get out of the grips of this defendant. After she did that, she attempted to try to get her pants. He got out of the bedroom first, went to his room, got another gun, a handgun at this point, and pointed it back at her head, threatened to kill her if she didn't comply, and began to penetrate her vagina at that point. He did successfully penetrate Ms. Holland, and as Ms. Holland told police later that evening, he ejaculated inside of her vagina. And after doing so, told her that if she told anyone what occurred, that he would kill her. At that point, she immediately left the residence, 149 Dahlia, and immediately went back down to 109 where Mr. Houston's mother lived, and immediately called 911 and made the rape outcry. She was immediately taken to Grady Hospital, where a sexual assault exam and kit were done, and it was later sent to the GBI. The swabs from the sexual assault kit were then compared to this defendant's buccal swab, and there was a match as it relates to the DNA that was found inside of Miss Holland's vaginal cavity, Your Honor. She was able to obviously identify him after being shown a six-pack photo lineup, and that would have been the facts as it relates to that incident.
How was Mr. Davis not? So there are 2 months between what happened to Ms. Holland and what happened to Ms. Santos.
Yes.
Did Mr. Davis get arrested for the Holland situation and bond out, or and she said, "This is who did this to me." Could they not find him? So he was a lowercase f fugitive. You didn't necessarily know they were searching for him.
The investigation. So at the initial part of the investigation, after Ms. Hall made her initial outcry, she only knew his first name. At that point, Mr. Houston, his roommate, was not overly cooperative as it relates to identifying the last name and other identifying, characteristics for this defendant, or identifying information like date of birth and things of that nature.
They didn't have enough information to say this is who we're talking about.
That's correct.
How did they get the photo to show her a six-pack lineup?
So the photo was given to the photo that was used within that six-pack photo lineup was in conjunction with, after Detective Fall was able to make his identification.
That all happened after the Santos situation.
Right.
The things you were describing about picked him out, obviously the DNA hit. So the investigators handling the case involving Ms. Holland really were able to connect dots after Ms. Santos's situation.
That's
Okay.
correct, Your Honor.
All right.
The recommendation from the negotiated recommendation as relates to the counts in indictment number 24 SC 006-492-01. Count 1, murder, would be life. Counts 2, 3, and 4, which are all the felony murder counts, would vacate by operation of law. Count 5, which is the kidnapping with bodily injury, would be a life sentence, but it would run concurrent with count 1. Count 6, false imprisonment, would merge with count 5, kidnapping with bodily injury. Count 7, the aggravated assault with a deadly weapon would merge with count 1, murder. Count 8, aggravated sodomy. That would be a life sentence, but it would run concurrent with count 1. By statute, it has to be followed by life on probation if he was ever to be released on parole. And then count 9, possession of a knife during the commission of a felony would be 5 years consecutive but suspended.
Okay.
And then as it relates to count 10, rape, the recommendation is 25 years to serve, followed by life on probation, consecutive to count 1, murder. Counts 11 and 12 would both be 20 years to serve. That would be concurrent with count 10. Typically, one would merge with the other, but he used 2 firearms during the incident. Count 13, false imprisonment, is 10 years to serve, but concurrent with count 10. Count 14, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony would be 5 years consecutive to count 10, but suspended. And then counts 15 and 16, possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. Both of those would be 10 years to serve, but concurrent with count 10, Your Honor.
So it's a total of life plus 25 plus lifetime on probation.
Yes, Your Honor.
It's life plus 25 plus 5 suspended, because I think count 14 would have to run consecutive to count 10.
That's correct, Your Honor.
So life plus 25 plus 5 suspended, but also lifetime on probation.
Yes, Your Honor.
There was a recidivist notice filed. I haven't looked at it. I don't know if it's an A or a C or both, but
We'll be withdrawing.
you're withdrawing that? Okay.
Nothing from the state until Your Honor believes or finds it's appropriate. There are several members of the Santos, Miss Santos's family who are all appearing via Zoom. Her daughter, her son, and I believe her husband is on the Zoom. And then Miss Holland is here in the courtroom who'd like to make stage for whenever.
Great. And I'll want to hear from each of them. Why don't we just round out the picture you've drawn by hearing from Ms. Jackson. Good afternoon, Ms. Jackson. If you could share with me criminal history information on Mr. Davis, please.
Yes, sir. There are 26 cycles. The last arrest was May the 26th, 2020, with the City of Atlanta Police Department for criminal damage to property in the 2nd degree. There are prior felony convictions, one in 2020 for criminal damage to property in the 2nd degree, and there was one in 2008 for burglary and possession of marijuana with the intent to distribute, and possession of cocaine with the intent to distribute. And there are misdemeanor sentences and convictions. He received a nolo contendere sentence in 2019 for theft by shoplifting. He received a nolo contendere sentence in 2015 for possession of marijuana less than an ounce. There was a conviction in 2009 for criminal trespassing. This one in 2007 for obstruction of an officer. And one in 2006 for disorderly conduct. Nothing in addition, Your Honor.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Body, I'm happy to hear from folks in whatever sequence you or the victim advocate want them to occur.
But yeah, probably easiest to start with people on Zoom.
Okay.
Any of, I know Ebony Santos is on with the daughter, and then everyone else can follow her.
All right. So Ms. Santos, Ebony Santos, if you could turn your camera on, please. And then your microphone. And when you're ready, if you could introduce yourself, tell me, please, how you are connected to Ms. Santos, and then anything you want to share with me about how you're doing, how your family is doing, and what you think ought to happen. I'm here to listen.
Yeah, thank you, Your Honor. Am I audible okay?
Yes.
Okay. My name is Ebony Santos. I am Annette's youngest child, her only daughter. My family and I are getting by as best as we can. I would be there in court today, but I'm in New York on business, and we got a 24-hour notice that this was happening. My mother raised 4 children with my father. We all have advanced college degrees, advanced careers. We have no criminal records. And yet, none of that exempts us from being in court today in this manner. The amount of pain that has been inflicted on myself and my family by not only losing our mother, but in the most heinous and violent ways has changed us forever. Our mother was loved, she was wanted, and she was needed. As her only daughter, there is so much in my life that I will now have to do without my mother. I get married, and when I have my first child, when I need to share great news about whatever's happening in life, or just vent. No matter how old I get, I will always need my mother. And the defendant has robbed me of having my mother in my life for the rest of my years. I am the same age as the defendant, and I have to live every one of my days of my life without my mom. I think that the defendant should live every day of his life without seeing the outside of a jail cell. And I still think, honestly, that is too lenient. My mom is not just another victim. She had a family. She did not deserve to be attacked, raped, and then left like nobody, lifeless and alone. And I can't imagine the fear and pain my mother went through in the last moments of her life. To the sick individual that did this, personally, I don't think that someone who's capable of doing what this person has done to my mother, and to hear about the woman that had to suffer on the hands of this man 2 months before my mom, people like that don't deserve to live. But I never want this person to see the day of life. A life with the possibility of parole. I don't think that this person deserves to be put out in the streets. I think they're a danger to everybody. And I think that is proven by the fact that they were able to do this and not only escalate within the span of 2 months. I hope that the defender suffers immensely every day for the rest of his life. And I hope you are violated in the same ways you violated my mother and the other woman, and possibly other women. I want you to spend every day for the rest of your life behind bars until the day you die. And may that day come sooner than later. In your honor, I ask that the court ensures that the defendant is never able to get out. That's my piece.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Santos. I appreciate you joining us. I want to comment real briefly on the short notice. We're taking this plea today sort of on the eve of trial. Trial was supposed to start on Monday because this opportunity to prevent Ms. Holland from having to testify at trial, and from you, Ms. Santos, and other family members from having to come down here and sit through a recreation of what your mother went through for 14 strangers, because that opportunity presented itself. And I directed the parties to come here post haste once Ms. Wood said that Mr. Davis was prepared to enter a plea. So I apologize that you are there and not here. Your comments to me are no less powerful because they're over a screen instead of you being here in court. And it might be safer for everyone that you are there and not physically present with Mr. Davis right now. But I'm sorry insofar as you wish to be here in person. But I have learned from many years on the bench to strike when there's an opportunity to take a plea, which brings not closure to your family. I don't mean to pretend that at all, but it is finality in the sense that a plea is the end of the proceedings. We don't have the trial and then an appeal and a motion for a new trial. The door slams shut. And given the facts of this case and what your family has gone through and what Ms. Holland has gone through, that's how it needs to end. So that we are not again coming back and picking at the wound and the gap in your life. So again, I'm sorry that you're not here. No one was trying to rush anything other than here was an opportunity to get the finality of a plea rather than a trial and all that involves, and then the years of appeals that follow. So just to explain that process. We have a couple other, I believe, members of the Santos family. You may feel like Ebony Santos has spoken what needs to be spoken, but I don't mean to preclude anyone else. So if there are other family members, I'd ask you to turn your camera on so that I know you want to speak. And if I don't see any cameras turn on, then I'll know it's time to turn to Ms. Holland to see if she wants to be heard. Rashad Santos, you'd like to speak?
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon. If you could spell your name for the record, and it may be exactly as on the screen, in which case we're good to go, and then let me know how you are connected to Ms. Santos.
It is spelled exactly as it is on the screen there. I'm my mom's oldest son, Ebony's oldest brother. There's two in between us that weren't able to make it today due to their work obligations. As Ebony already stated, we would have definitely planned to be there today. I actually tried to find a flight to get down there today, but I couldn't with work and everything else. But nonetheless, my sister summarized everything that I possibly was going to say. The only thing I will say is beyond just children, um, grandchildren. Um, my mom had uh, maybe 14, I think 13 grandchildren. Um, four which are currently in their pursuing their college careers, college degrees. One about to join the military, and the rest are scattered between high school, middle school, elementary school, and soon to be going to elementary school. As I sit here today and I watch and listen to everything that relive those things again, and I think about the safety of our community as I'm preparing to do hurricane weather forecasting for us to save and make sure everybody in the nation's safe. I couldn't echo the sentiments to my sister any further and telling you that to even have somebody of this magnitude walking around the streets, this evil does not deserve to be in the streets. While we don't question God and his will, there's no place for evil in our society, and evil should not be on the streets. So I'll save a lot of what I wrote because my sister captured it all. But this evil does not need to be in the streets, and that should not be the possibility to be on the streets again. It cause more harm and havoc to those other people out there and their loved ones. These are the two that got caught, but I'm pretty sure this is not the first and second attempt that this has happened. So I'll leave it at that, Your Honor. I appreciate the time. And my sister spoke eloquently on behalf of the family, and I have nothing else to add. So.
Well, Mr. Santos, I appreciate you dialing in as well. And I'll just repeat the apology that the timing was such that you couldn't be here in person, but your words were heard just as clearly and as effectively as your sister. So thank you for contributing. All right. I think that is it. Ms. Santos, do you know, I think Mr. Abate said that your father is on as well. Does he want to be heard, or are you and your brother the spokespeople for the family?
Yeah, I think, Dad, you're gonna be okay. If you want to say something, now is your okay.
All right. Oh,
I'm just trying.
Mr. Santos, I can't see you. Do you have a camera?
Together.
I think he's got a bad connection there, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Santos, we're not able to hear you. Do you have another way of connecting? You could go audio only if that might make the sound come through, but we're not able to make out what you're saying. Oh, now we can see you. Mr. Santos, I'm going to turn to Ms. Holland to see if she wants to add something. We can see you now. There's not any sound coming through, but if you want to go offline real briefly to connect with either of your children to see if there's a way I can hear from you, I'm happy to do that. I can also, if your children ask for that, say we need to just get you on the telephone. I got a telephone right here. If you want to dial up, we can put you on speakerphone. But you also may right now think that your kids have spoken on your behalf.
Your Honor, let's continue and we'll get with my dad in the background and let you know.
Please do. Thank you.
Mhm.
All right. Ms. Holland, you do not have to say anything at all, but if you want to, I do want to hear from you. I'm going to ask Mr. Davis and Ms. Wood to go back to the defense table while Ms. Holland comes on up to either, why don't you come to prosecution? You can take a seat in that middle seat, please.
Thank you.
Ms. Holland.
Yes, sir.
I very much would like to hear from you, as comfortable as you are talking. If there's something you prepared in writing, you could have the advocate read it. Whatever is easiest for you. My only request is that you talk to me. You may have words for Mr. Davis, but you and I are the ones having the conversation, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, you let me know how you want to do this.
I will talk to you.
Great. I will listen to you.
Yes, sir. I want to start by saying, again, I tell you, it is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a man to enter heaven. Who can be saved? Jesus said, with a man, this is impossible, but with God, all things are possible. I want to say good afternoon, Your Honor. I would first like to address the court in fashion of being very thankful to Atlanta Police Department, Detective Williams James and her colleagues, to Mrs. Carla Martinez and her colleagues, to the USDAs of the state of Georgia, and all other persons that made this process go smooth and timely. And of course to you, Your Honor. When I think back to May 3rd of 2024, my heart rate increases, my mouth gets dry, my blood pressure fluctuates, and I begin to succumb to AFib. I think of myself and how this was my fault and could have been avoided had I stayed in my suburban life and not tried to rescue and truly love people. Edric Houston. I lied to my daughter about where I was and what truly happened to me because I was flabbergasted with myself, disgusted, and self-loathing at this heinous thing that truly happened to me in my senior years of life. As a young girl, through young adulthood, I have been hurt in many ways. I buried tragedies deep inside myself because I never thought anyone would believe or advocate for me. So when I found that this crime had been solved for me, I felt for the very first time a true sense of relief within myself. I felt really human and important to others. Other victims of Mr. Davis are not here, but they are. Nor could they be able to celebrate a victory where someone in their family was hurt. However, as sure as I stand here before this court, my heart is very heavy for them all. I feel victorious within this instant. However, another mother, sister, cousin, auntie, grandmother, and friend lost her life to this sick individual, and for that my heart aches for her. I bless her soul that she has found comfort in the Savior's arms. I bless her remaining family for strength and perseverance to go on and live
This was a hateful, hurtful, and shame, and should go down in the annals of justice as follows. Demetrius Davis, you will never see the break of dawn. You will never know again to enjoy freedom. You will cry many, many days because now you are at the mercy of the judicial system. Fellow inmates and Satan himself. Visions will haunt you. Your heart will ache. You will not rest well. Your food will be cold. You will think to yourself of what you could have done or should have done. Nevertheless, God is. Therefore, there was and is no escape for you. You chose this path, Mr. Davis. You could have been successful and thriving, but now you will never belong to yourself. However, let me take the time to tell you, with all others and physical things that you have done, there is no other way but to God. Learn of him, that he may bring you comfort, that your soul may be saved, because your ass belongs to the state of Georgia. That's all I have to say.
Ms. Holland, I appreciate you sharing that, and I followed closely, and it sounds like you have evolved away from blaming yourself. You have no responsibility for what happened to you. And one of your first phrases was, it was your fault. But I think you've let go of that perspective and understand.
I'm dealing with that because I feel like had I not been there, I would not have been in that trouble. But at the expense of another sister losing, that's how we found out everything. And I say thank you to the judicial system because it was quick and swift. A whole year is nothing compared to other cold cases. So, Judge McBurney, I hope I'm saying that correct.
It's fine.
I bless your decision, and I trust your decision here today. And based upon what we've heard from the facts given in front of us, that you will make the best choice possible for this particular case. And I trust in you.
Well, thank you. I hope that you continue to move away from the blame. You were where you were, and what happened to you should happen to no one. You did nothing to deserve it. You did nothing to have that befall you. And so I hope you continue on your path towards understanding that while there's no good explanation for what happened to you, none of it was your fault.
Yes, sir.
Okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you for being here.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Santos, do you have a technical update?
Yes, I do. So I think let's dial in. We can get Dad, if we can get a number for him to just dial in and speak.
Yep. Let me see what I can do here. I have this phone here. You ready? It's 404. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put it in the chat to you rather than just put it out here because no one needs this phone randomly being called during certain times. So let me send it to you and you can get it to your dad. All right. You got it?
I do. Thank you.
All right. You'll share that with your father. He can call. I'm going to put it on speakerphone. It'll come over my microphone so that Ms. Rivers, our court reporter, can take it down. We'll wrap up with that from the state side. And then I'll have Ms. Wood and Mr. Davis come back to the podium and we'll hear from the defense.
All right. Thank you. I've sent the number. Call should be coming in now.
Got it. Mr. Santos, can you hear me? From the defense. Mr. Santos, are you there?
Yep, I'm here.
All right.
Okay, then. How you doing, Jan?
Okay.
Okay. Yes, My children put it beautiful, eloquently, and I don't know too much more I can say, but I would like to say that Angel, as we call her, left me with a beautiful legacy. Though she's gone, she'll always be with me. And as I sat through the proceedings, I was just so grateful that I didn't get a chance to be one-on-one with Mr. Davis. I'm so grateful because things would have been a lot different. That'd have been me on trial, guarantee you. But all that being said, that was like initial anger, if that makes sense. The initial anger, but as the year went on, and I was able to deal with the finality that she's gone. I'm never going to see her again. And in my mind, 10,000 times, I thought of what I could have did different. And I asked myself, there was nothing I could have did different. And just to see someone, just so much bigger than her, just stab and take a life. And I just know deep down inside where I feel that ain't the first time he did it. Not the second time. You just don't do something like that. I mean, that's not normal. That is not normal at all. And like my son said, something that evil should not be walking the street. Ever. Ever. And like I said earlier, my kids put it eloquently. I mean, that legacy, she left me with a beautiful legacy. And I'm going on trying to play, grandfather, father. But a part of me is always missing. It's got a void. He created a void in my heart, in my life. And I have to go on the rest of my days with that void. So, Your Honor, I know it's up to the court, and I just hope that he gets what he deserves. No more, no less. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Santos. I appreciate you working through our technical difficulties.
Not a problem.
Ms. Wood, if you, do you want to stay where you are, or is it okay coming back to the podium?
We'll come back to the podium, Judge.
All right, let's do that.
This way.
So we've heard a lot.
Yes, Judge. Would you like me to go ahead and get
I'm ready.
started?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
I would just like to remind the court that several months ago, I think it was at the beginning of the summer, for our final plea hearing, I anticipated that it would just be the final plea hearing. So I had a colleague stand in for me. And then Mr. Davis came out from the back and indicated to the court that he was ready to accept responsibility. And I'm telling the court that today to let everyone know that Mr. Davis wanted to accept responsibility back then. And the reason we've had this extra delay is because I wanted to make sure that I left no stone unturned and to continue negotiating with Mr. Abadi. So he has been standing here. He's been eager to enter a plea and accept responsibility and spare everyone the what would happen at a trial, Judge. And so I just want to get out front and say that our office actually hired Dr. Norman in May of this year. He worked extensively with Mr. Davis. Mr. Davis does suffer from multiple diagnoses. He is diagnosed schizophrenic. He also suffers from psychotic disorder, anxiety disorder as well.
And those, I think you shared with me before, and it's important to take into consideration, but you are not suggesting at this point that Mr. Davis is in any way not capable of understanding what we're doing today.
That's correct, Judge.
Okay.
Dr. Norman deemed him both competent to stand trial and also criminally responsible at the time of the incidents. So given that he has these diagnosis, I also, just from a couple of things I saw in discovery, I think there might have been some substance usage on Mr. Davis's part during these incidents as well. Obviously, that does not excuse anything, but I'm just adding that for context. Judge, I am here begging that you accept our negotiated resolution for this case. Mr. Abadi has been very thoughtful in his recommendation. Mr. Davis has family here. He has his mother and his uncle. He's 38 years old. He was born and raised here in Atlanta. At some point in his life, he was able to be gainfully employed. He worked for a trucking company. He loaded 18-wheelers, and he's also done landscaping work. Judge, he is accepting responsibility. I don't know if you noticed, he was feeling remorseful and a little overwhelmed by emotion at the table. So he is deeply sorry for both of these incidents, Judge. And I don't know if his family would like to speak, but I would let them address the court if they do wish to do that, Judge.
Okay. Do either of you want to be heard, or you're good having Ms. Wood speak for you? You'd like to be heard? Okay, if you can come up and you can sit at the middle seat of the desk where Ms. Wood and Mr. Davis had been sitting. If you could introduce yourself, please, and let me know how you are related to Mr. Davis.
My name is Nora Davis.
I'm sorry, I need you to speak up.
My name is Nora Davis.
All right, Ms. Davis.
I'm the mother of Demetrius Davis.
And what do you want to share?
I wanted to share that Demetrius, when he was young, this is what we did for a living. My mama owned a personal care home. She was a nurse at Grady Hospital. She retired. Demetrius used to help the senior citizen tie their shoes. My mama taught us how to turn them and bathe them and sit them on the house. Demetrius not, oh God. She taught us how to take care of senior citizens. I've been taking care of senior citizens ever since I was 16. I'm 58 years old now. I'm still taking care of senior citizens. I do sit-ins. But Demetrius has a heart. Trust and believe, he has a heart. I don't know what happened. I don't know what went wrong, but he has a heart and he has a caring heart. My daughter had 7 kids and he took care of them. We got college and graduates too. And it hurt them very much because they represent, Demetrius represent as their uncle. I tell Demetrius, and he's very close to church. He was raised in the church, y'all. My mama carried him to church every Sunday. Every other Sunday he might miss. I am deeply sorry for anything and everything. I goes out to everybody. I take care of people every day. Demetrius know this. Just pray. My heart go out to the family too. If he, Demetrius knows. That's what I'm paying for. And I don't want to tell y'all the term of the cheat, but I want you to know that this child was a living child. And not only that, he cared for other people. I don't know what went wrong. But it's in our blood to care for folks. When they told me Demetri did this, I couldn't even believe. They said this happened more than one time. That's not true. But my heart go out for all of y'all. I'm so sorry.
And me too, Your
All
Honor.
right, hey, Mr. Davis, I'll hear from you in a second.
Yes,
Promise.
I'm so sorry for each and every, even the ones that's in the courthouse. I'm sorry y'all had to hear this and go through this. But Demetri is not no evil person. I tried Social Security over and over. If y'all would look back, how many times I tried, I had got sick. And I told Demetri, I sat down and talked to him. I told him, I said, babe, I don't got sick. Now I got to have somebody to take care of you. Because I wanted him to put him in a group home so he could continue taking his meds. And the people could take care of him. He done went to the hospital so many times, y'all. If you ever look at his medical records, he done been to the hospital so many times, over 50 times, not 100, asking for help. We went and took him down on 10th Street. And they let you sit in the chair for hours and hours. I really can't say nothing else.
Well, Ms. Davis, it was important for you to speak. It's important that you're here.
Yes, sir.
It helps everyone see that your son is loved and that he has a family. And I know it is important to him that he's not here alone.
Yes, yes.
So I appreciate you sharing what you shared. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And God bless all of you. Thank you, Jesus.
Mr. Davis, I interrupted you only because I was saving till the end for you to share anything you want to. You don't have to say anything at all, but you have a right to be heard if there's anything you want to say. Your words may go to other people, but I want you to talk to me or the screen. Don't turn around and address other people. Just tell me if there's something you want to say, but you're not obligated to say anything at all.
So I just wanted to say, I am sorry for everything, and just also just my mom was right. I was a good person, and still is, but that's all, sir. That's all, Miss.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Davis. Ms. Wood, anything else?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Abate, anything else from the state? Mr. Davis, I meant it. I meant all the things I've been saying, but I meant it when I said to your mother that it was important that she was here because I think she illustrates that people have different aspects. And I have no doubt that when you were a kid, you were a good kid, and around your mom, you have shown that you have a heart. But I'm also confronted with some of the most alarming and disturbing conduct that I've ever seen. Ms. Santos described it as hideous and violent. Rashad Santos described it as evil. And that's not me saying you're evil. I'm not taking sides and putting labels on. But the things that happened were hideous and violent, and they were evil, and they happened twice. And it's got to be hard for people to process how it could happen more than once and why the system didn't kick in to try to get you to where you are now so that there wasn't a second or third or a fourth or a fifth victim. Blessedly, Ms. Holland survived. Ms. Santos didn't. And you saw what I saw, which is some very hurt and very angry people. And they don't forgive you, and they don't have to forgive you. because what happened was unforgivable. That doesn't mean you don't have a heart, but it means that the things that happened were awful and cruel, and they have left for Mr. Santos and his family a situation where part of them is always missing. Those were his words. And you can't give that back, however much you might want to. My job now is to figure out what best protects everyone else that you haven't been able to interact with in this way. And I take that role pretty seriously. So first, I find there's a factual basis for your plea. And all that means is that if the jury heard what I heard today, the jury could find you guilty. I don't know that they would, but with the DNA, with the video footage, with Ms. Holland as an eyewitness survivor, I bet the jury would find you guilty. But I don't need to make that decision. I'm just telling you that it sounds like the state has enough evidence in this case that your plea is supported by that. I also find that your plea is voluntary. All that means is that you're entering this plea after having had a chance to speak with your lawyer and maybe your family of your own free will. No one's forcing you to do that. Find that your plea is knowing. That means you've understood the things we talked about. And if you didn't, you asked for a break and you and Ms. Wood talked about it. And so she explained to you in words that you understood the things we've been discussing. Do you agree that so far you've followed what we've been talking about?
Yes, I do, sir.
Okay. At this point, do you have any questions for me or for Ms. Wood about anything?
I just want to say I'm not the same person, but I'm staying prayed up and everyone stay blessed. And I know not, I got common sense, not if or someone was to, when I would not go out and do nothing wrong.
Okay. And it may well be, Mr. Davis, that when you're getting the right care and you're taking the right medicine, that we wouldn't see this side of you. That's possible.
Yes,
But it may be when you aren't doing that, because you're an adult, your mom can't make you do things you don't want to do. And the way you're trying to stop the voices is by, and I don't know if it's cocaine or something else, but if you're self-medicating, then you find yourself in this kind of situation. And as Ms. Wood put it, and I agree with her, it doesn't justify any of it. It explains why someone who right now is standing here and is speaking calmly and has people who love him might end up in a situation like that. But I think you can understand that whether it was because you were medicating yourself or weren't doing the certain things, none of that brings back Ms. Santos. None of that returns a sense of peace and serenity to Ms. Holland. And that's where we are. Ms. Wood, do you authorize someone in my office to sign the indictment on your behalf?
Yes.
Mr. Abate, can we sign for you?
Yes.
Mr. Davis,
So he's gonna ask you.
we do electronic signatures now, and so I'm asking your permission to have someone in my office electronically sign the indictment on your behalf, just memorializing the guilty plea that you've decided you want to enter. Is it okay if we electronically sign your name?
Say yes.
Yes.
Okay, we'll do that. Thank you. Mr. Abate, are you going to move to null pros, dismiss the original indictment, the one ending in just the 492? Okay, we'll take care of that. And you said it before, but because I'm about to pronounce sentence, I want to have it close in time or space in the transcript. The state is withdrawing the recidivist notice.
That's correct.
All right. Mr. Davis, I'm going to sentence you on count 1 to life. Counts 2, 3, and 4 vacate by operation of law. You don't get a sentence on those. Those counts go away. Count 5 is a sentence of life. That'll run concurrently or at the same time with your first life sentence. Count 6 merges into count 5. No sentence there. That count goes away. Count 7 merges into count 1. No sentence there. Count 8 is I apologize for that interruption. Count 8 is also a life sentence. It will run concurrently with count 1. Count 9 has to be 5 years. It has to run consecutive to count 1. So it is 5 years to serve consecutive to count 1. Those are all the counts that relate to what I'm calling the Ms. Santos case. The next set of counts relate to what happened to Ms. Holland. Your sentence as to count 10 is a sentence of life. It will run consecutive to count 1. Your sentence as to count 11, need to get the indictment back up on the screen. Count 11 is 20 years. Count 12 is 20 years. Those will run concurrently with each other and concurrently with count 10. Count 14 has to be 5 years and it has to run consecutive to count 10. So that'll be 5 years to serve consecutive to count 10. Counts 15 and 16 are both 10 years to serve and that'll run concurrently with count 10. So your sentence is life followed by another life sentence, followed by 5 years to serve. And I think I have to say followed by life on probation. I'm required to say that by law. I don't think you're ever going to be on probation. I don't think that's how this is going to play out. But if for some reason you would be on probation for life and you'd be required to register as a sex offender.
So you said I won't be on probation?
I don't know how it will play out. I don't control how pardons and parole will handle this. And I'm going to give you some hypotheticals, and don't quote me on this. The governor could commute your sentence. I don't think the governor's going to do that, but the governor could say, oh my gosh, Mr. Davis has been a model prisoner. I'm going to commute his sentence after 27 years. I'm making the number up and I'm making that fact up. If your sentence were commuted, then you'd still be alive. The rest of your life, you're on probation and you'd have to register as a sex offender, which would affect where you can live and what kind of work you could do, et cetera. You also could have the Board of Pardons and Parole decide that they are going to release you on parole. If you're released on parole, that is functionally the same as probation, and you would be required to register as a sex offender, which would affect where you can live and what you can do for a living. Couldn't be a school teacher, can't live near a school, et cetera. Those decisions are beyond my span of control. And I don't want you to leave here thinking the judge said, I'm going to get paroled. The judge said, I'm going to get probation. I don't think that will happen, but if it does happen, just know that it is parole and probation for the rest of your life and that you'd be registered as a sex offender while you're doing that parole or that probation.
So you saying I don't come get parole?
I'm saying I don't know because it's not my decision. There's a different organization called the Board of Pardons and Parole, and they will look at your sentence a ways down the road to say, is this someone who has been doing well in prison, not getting in fights, not making trouble for the warden? They'll look at what you were convicted of, pretty serious stuff, but they will decide whether you're eligible for parole. Because you pled to murder, don't even think about that second case. Because you pled to murder, right now you're not eligible for parole for 30 years, 30. But that's something you knew going in. If all you had done was plead to the Ms. Sanders case to life, you wouldn't be eligible for parole for 30 years. But given your age, you could still be alive 30 years minus however long you've been in jail for now. And you'll be considered for parole. I don't know what they'll do. They don't ask me. I'm not going to be a judge then anyway. But they wouldn't say, hey, McBurney, what do you think about Mr. Davis's situation? So yes, you'll be considered, but it wouldn't be for many, many years. Okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. Mr. Abadi, anything else from the state?
And I may have missed it, right? I think you may have skipped count 13 that relates to a sentence, and I apologize.
No, you're probably right. Because I couldn't print out the new indictment, I've had to scribble some stuff down. I don't think I did. 13 is 10 years to serve, and it is concurrent with count 10. So that doesn't change your sentence at all. It's just something that's running at the same time. The only counts that shouldn't have a sentence are 2 through 4. Those were vacated by operation of law. 6, which merged into 5, and 7, which merged into 1. I intended to pronounce a sentence for all the other counts. Ms. Nelson, any questions about any of that?
No, Judge, you covered it all. Thank you.
Oh, and she sent a note too saying, what about count 13? I missed that. Ms. Wood, anything else on behalf of Mr. Davis?
Mayor, thank you.
I appreciate your work on his behalf. And to the Santoses, again, I apologize you weren't here in person. You were seen, you were heard. And Ms. Holland, best of luck with everything.
Good man, Rich.
You may. Thank you. Thank you so much. And Mr. Abadi, thank you on the Darrell Lowe front as well. Will you be there on Monday or Mr. Fawcett? Okay. Okay. Well, we're just waiting to hear whether Mr. Lowe, it'll be in 7E regardless. It's just a question of who will be sitting up at the bench. She and I had, I bet, because it remains her issue and not Mr. Nails or whoever the commissioner is. Take care. Yes.
I have.
It doesn't need to be on the record.
Yeah.
No,
I have
okay.
Well, I guess I have a waiver agreement and all the address change forms. The court also asked me to go through each of the cases and see if there were any charges that he did not receive on when he was initially arrested.
Yeah.
I did that, and I also communicated with Ms. Nelson via email.
Perfect.
So we confirmed everything. He does not have a bond on 3 of the counts.
But it's counts that every case he has a bond?
He has a bond on every case.
That makes it so much easier because then we're just amending bonds. Okay.
I don't know if
If you told her, I can work with her, meaning Ms. Nelson. If she knows the counts for which there's no bond, then I'll amend the bond. I'll need to add we'll work with you on this. Sometimes the bonding companies say, we can't just amend a bond like that. So let me look at what you've shared with her. And then we can via email, and I'll include Ms. Williams on the email, but I'll also include Ms. Davis because it's going to be Ms. Davis going forward, but Ms. Williams can just be the boots on the ground who was here saying, yes, they talked about that.
I figured as much, but I didn't want to leave just in abundance of caution, just in case.
I'm sorry this plea took so long keeping you trapped.